Former Iron Maiden vocalist Paul Di'Anno has died at the age of 66, leaving behind a legacy that transformed the heavy metal genre forever. The news of his passing was confirmed by his longtime label Conquest Music, in a heartfelt statement shared to social media on Monday, October 21. The label expressed deep sadness while honoring the memory of a man who had been instrumental in shaping the course of heavy metal music. On behalf of his family, Conquest Music are sad to confirm the death of Paul Andrews, professionally known as Paul Di'Anno. Paul passed away at his home in Salisbury at the age of 66, the statement read. Despite being burdened by severe health issues in recent years which confined him to a wheelchair, Paul continued to perform for his loyal fans, amassing well over 100 shows since 2023. His tenacity in the face of these challenges was a testament to his commitment to music and his fans. Paul Di'Anno wasn't just a musician. He was an enduring symbol of resilience, raw talent, and undying passion. Di'Anno's former bandmates in Iron Maiden also paid tribute to the late singer, acknowledging the immense contributions he made to their early success. The band shared a touching post on their social media, accompanied by a photo of Di'Anno alongside bassist Steve Harris. Their words resonated deeply with both new and old fans alike, reflecting on the lasting impact Di'Anno had on their journey as a band. "We are all deeply saddened to learn about the passing of Paul Di'Anno earlier today," the statement began. Paul's contribution to Iron Maiden was immense and helped set us on the path we have been traveling as a band for almost 5 decades. His pioneering presence as a frontman and vocalist, both on stage and on our first 2 albums, will be very fondly remembered not just by us but by fans around the world. For a band that is often regarded as one of the pillars of heavy metal, Di'Anno's role in their early formation cannot be overstated. His unmistakable voice and raw energy helped set Iron Maiden apart in a genre that was only beginning to find its identity in the late 1970s. Born Paul Andrews in Chingford, East London in 1958, Di'Anno's early years were marked by a passion for music that would ultimately lead him to global recognition. Like many aspiring musicians of the time, Di'Anno spent his teenage years playing in various local bands, honing his skills as a vocalist and frontman. His raw, powerful voice stood out from the beginning, and his stage presence was magnetic. It was through drummer Doug Sampson that Di'Anno was introduced to the fledgling Iron Maiden in 1978, a meeting that would forever change the course of his life and the history of metal music. When Di'Anno joined Iron Maiden, the band was in its early stages, having only recently formed in 1975. They were gaining traction on the local scene, but it was with Di'Anno as the frontman that they began to truly make waves. In 1979, the band recorded their debut EP, The Soundhouse Tapes, which quickly gained attention in the underground music scene. The band's raw, aggressive sound, paired with Di'Anno's distinctive vocals, caught the ear of EMI Records, and by 1980 Iron Maiden had secured a record deal. The release of Iron Maiden's self-titled debut album in 1980 was a game-changer for the band and for heavy metal as a whole. Di'Anno's voice, gritty, powerful, and unrefined, perfectly matched the intensity of the band's music. Tracks like Prowler, Running Free, and Phantom of the Opera showcased not only the instrumental prowess of the band but also the unique vocal style that Di'Anno brought to the table. His performance exuded raw energy and a sense of rebellion, which resonated deeply with the youth of the time. Iron Maiden wasn't just a band, it was a movement, and Di'Anno was at its forefront. Their second album, Killers, released in 1981, further solidified Iron Maiden's place in the annals of metal history. It was an album that defined the era, hard-hitting, dark, and full of anthems that would become staples of the heavy metal genre. Di'Anno's vocals on tracks like Wrathchild and Murders in the Rue Morgue were ferocious and captivating, embodying the raw essence of early heavy metal. However, despite the success and growing popularity of the band, Di'Anno was struggling behind the scenes with personal issues, including drug addiction. By the end of 1981, these struggles became too much for both Di'Anno and the band to bear. His addiction began to interfere with his ability to perform, and it was clear that a change had to be made. In a decision that was difficult but necessary, Di'Anno was relieved of his vocal duties in Iron Maiden and replaced by Bruce Dickinson, who would go on to help the band reach even greater heights. While this marked the end of Di'Anno's tenure with Iron Maiden, it was far from the end of his career. In the years that followed, Di'Anno remained a force in the metal world. He fronted several other bands, including Gogmagog, Battlezone, and his own self-titled band Di'Anno. His voice and stage presence continued to inspire a dedicated fan base, and he became a beloved figure in the metal community. His post-Maiden work may not have achieved the same level of commercial success, but for those who followed his journey, Di'Anno's passion for music never wavered. However, Di'Anno's life was not without its challenges, especially when it came to his health. In the early 2000s, the singer began to experience serious health issues that would plague him for the rest of his life. Most notably, he faced a series of leg problems that left him unable to walk without assistance. In 2021, Di'Anno launched a crowdfunding campaign to raise money for a crucial knee surgery after discovering a golf ball-sized abscess in his leg. His financial situation, like that of many musicians from his era, was precarious, and he required the help of fans and friends to cover the cost of the operation. Iron Maiden, despite their long-ago parting of ways, stepped in to cover the remaining costs of his treatment, showcasing the deep bond that remained between Di'Anno and the band. In a candid interview with Mexican news outlet MB Live, Di'Anno revealed just how close he had come to death during this period. "When I arrived in England, I only had 45 minutes to live with sepsis and that, so they pumped me full of antibiotics. I spent 8 months in hospital," he explained. "So the last bit of the treatment, the band was really cool. They paid for the last couple of months' worth of treatments, which was good. I'll be forever grateful for that." His battle with health issues didn't end there. In the years leading up to his death, Di'Anno faced numerous complications, including multiple infections. Despite these challenges, he continued to perform whenever he could, often from a wheelchair. His tenacity and love for music shone through, even in the face of declining health. In a poignant interview with the Metal Voice in June 2023, just 4 months before his death, Di'Anno shared the depth of his struggles. "I've been really ill the last couple of months with infection after infection after infection because I caught pneumonia last year in Mexico. I was over there doing physio after I finished a tour." Through it all, Di'Anno remained a symbol of perseverance. His fans continued to support him, and his performances, despite his physical limitations, were met with admiration and respect. He was a man who had given his life to his art, and even when his body began to fail him, his spirit remained unbroken. His voice, once a battle cry for a generation of metalheads, had aged but never lost its intensity or emotional depth. Di'Anno's legacy extends far beyond his time in Iron Maiden. He helped lay the foundation for the heavy metal genre, influencing countless musicians who followed in his footsteps. His unique voice, his rebellious spirit, and his larger-than-life stage presence will be remembered for years to come. Iron Maiden may have gone on to achieve monumental success with Bruce Dickinson, but it was Paul Di'Anno who helped set them on that path. Without him, the story of Iron Maiden, and indeed the story of heavy metal, would be incomplete.